Good afternoon, happy Sunday. It is a nice, cold, blustery January here in Central Florida. And today we're going to be practicing and moving through part of the integration of nonviolent communication, going past a little bit the awareness and building on the awareness we've built in previous practices. So if you haven't visited previous practices, you can catch a link here to the YouTube channel or on the group page for those practices. We'll be doing that by looking at how our communication, how our language that we use to ourselves can be a barrier to understanding our wants and needs. And we'll be looking at that with a mudra and some breath work called box breathing, which is a very common, even way to breathe that helps bring relaxation into your body and centers your awareness inward. So the mudra that we're going to use today is the Pran Mudra. It's called the Life Mudra, and it involves taking the thumb and the ring finger and pinky finger together. And I'd like you to try to practice now. I invite you to practice with me now just to see what that mudra is like. And you're going to extend the index and the middle finger, and that can rest in various positions. So I'll offer you some alternatives to the way that I'm doing it to find ease. We'll be working on a breath that is a 5-count breath in, where we retain the breath for 5 counts. We exhale for 5 counts, and then at the bottom of the breath, we also hold for 5 counts. And we'll be integrating a little inner work with that. As well as a little bit of asymmetrical work, working with some opposites to try to get a relaxation in our body. The Pran Mudra in the book that I'm using, Yoga in Your Hands by Gertrude Hirsch, has a beautiful visualization, and I'd like to build on that visualization throughout. And it has a beautiful affirmation, which I believe feels like the language of nonviolent communication. And in looking at the barriers to communication in this practice, what we're primarily looking at is barriers that keep us from expressing our wants and needs through judgment or comparison or even denial of responsibility that we control our inner world. So this is a practice to help cultivate that connection inside, and if you already have that, build that awareness. And we'll do that through this beautiful I invite you to do that through this beautiful example of metaphor here that we can use. It says, imagine yourself as a tree. If this is a difficult thing for you, then create a mental image of a tree in front of you. While inhaling, see how the energy flows into the roots and how the roots become thicker and longer. While exhaling, let your strength flow back into the trunk. From there, it travels into the crown, far beyond the tree, into the sky and toward the sun. The larger the rootstock becomes, the greater the size of the crown. The same also applies to us and our existence, how we act, and what we have. So in cultivating the language of nonviolent communication, when we communicate inside with ourselves, by not making judgments, only value judgments, turning things into a value judgment rather than a moralistic judgment of what we can and cannot do or should not do, I invite you to take this opportunity to use this metaphor, and it's opposite the way that we've been doing in the past, where I asked you to exhale and ground into the earth and feel your roots there. We're going to go the opposite, so we're going to be working a lot with polarities, and I invite you to practice in the spirit of nonviolent communication and apply that same patience and compassion to yourself as we do to the rest of the world. We're going to come together here to center our practice, and then we'll begin. So coming and sitting straight up, stacking your vertebrae, and I invite you to take a comfortable position. We're going to be on our hands and knees and in push-up position. You can modify this however you want, because we're going to be using the visualization and the breathing to help guide our movement. And come and stack the vertebrae one on top of each other. Draw the chin in, lengthen the crown, and let's picture that tree. And as we breathe, we're going to feel the roots go into the ground and thicken and be enriched by the soil. And as we exhale, we're going to bring that awareness and that breath back into the trunk of the tree and extend it out through the crown of the head, reaching for the sky and the sun. Let's take 3 breaths like that. Beginning to connect to that inner wisdom, feeling the roots grow beneath you and your awareness rise beyond your physical body into your more subtle body and beyond. And then just bring the hands into prayer posture after rubbing them together. Feel that life force and that friction and that heat that your body generates with movement and breath, and just being in the present moment. Bringing it to the heart center, making a conscious effort to find the heartbeat with the thumbs on the sternum. And we're going to tap in here and just breathe. So no box breathing, just breathing, trying to feel our heartbeat. Staying in this prayer position, feeling the heartbeat, I will now read the affirmation that goes with the mudra that we'll be using. If you choose to, you may use this affirmation or anyone that speaks to you. I have a healthy appetite for the small and large adventures of life. I digest the challenges with great pleasure and joy. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, let your hands come to your knees. We're going to begin with just a little movement. So we're going to just circle around the body, drawing our attention to our heartbeat and the breath as it informs our movement. Inhaling as we go forward, exhaling as we go back. This is a lovely, delicious stretch. Don't try to limit yourself unless pain dictates otherwise. Let your body tell you what language it needs to fulfill whatever it is that you're here to practice. Just gently moving the heart space around the fixed body. Breathing in, picturing those roots growing. Breathing out, picturing the energy going up the trunk and out to the universe. And of course, this can be faster or slower if you need to. Just making that connection to the heart space and its orbit. Feeling the breadth of your breath. And letting it get deeper. And as you come forward, inhale and just hold there for a few seconds. And as you exhale, make your circle go the other direction and resume the breathing, flowing through the circle. And then inhaling, coming forward again, holding that space there. And on the exhale, centering yourself. We're going to take that same principle up onto our hands and knees. And this is a little bit more active. So we'll be doing some asymmetrical moves, and notice you can prop any way that you want. The idea is to get your body disconnected from the mind. So your mind has to focus on the asymmetrical move and the balance and the breath all at the same time. And then it will help you flow into breath when we do the box breath to help release any tension or stress that we might have. And the mudra is like a little extra pop in there to help the magic move along. So we're on our hands and knees, and we're going to be just cat and cow, but we're going to invite that breath that's a 5-count breath here by inhaling and arching the back for 5 counts. So it's a long way up, holding here, and then a 5-count breath all the way down, dropping the chin, dropping the pelvis towards the chin, hollowing out, sucking the belly up inside and holding here. And then let your movement be dictated. Inhale, feel the roots grow, feel connected and plugged into the earth on that 5 count of inhaling up, and we're just going to hold this space in equanimity and gentleness. Exhaling, feeling the energy go through the trunk of your body into the crown of the head and out, extending beyond the subtle body. Inhale for 5, and as you do, feel the heart open, feel the shoulders slide down, feel the throat open up to the universe. Hold here. Exhale, rounding the spine slowly, a count of 5. Holding here. One more time, inhaling. And exhaling. Breathing normally, just come into a neutral position and then sit back in child's pose for a relinquishment, a rest of the breath. Coming back up onto the hands and knees. Now we'll do the same thing, but we'll come into a neutral position. So we're going to be alternating hands and legs. On the inhale, we're going to lift the opposite arm and opposite leg up, and then hold for 5 counts with the breath, retaining the breath. And then on the exhale, we're going to lower down to a neutral position and hold the breath for 5 counts before initiating again. Your count may be a little different than mine. We're going to try it 3 times on each side, so that may be a little bit different. So it's okay. It doesn't have to match again. Comparison is the thief of joy. So you just want to feel what that feels like in your body and be okay with it. If you can, that's the work of nonviolent communication, is learning how to hold yourself in compassion when you're trying to do something that's challenging. So we're in a neutral position. We want the shoulder blades to spread here, so really plug the hands into the ground. Don't lock out anything. Try not to tense the mouth. So we're going to try to keep this as even and flowing as we can, holding the breath. A couple of things to ensure safety is to really hold the lower belly in when you're in the neutral position, and also when you're extended from the body. So to really engage the root lock and pull up on the pelvic floor muscles as we extend out. And then on the exhale, when you come back into this neutral position, you want to just keep that awareness in the belly that the lower back can be safe, but you want to release the pelvic floor muscle so that you can find that space in your pelvis on the exhale when you let it go. So we'll do the first one together. So we're going to inhale and lift the right leg and left arm for a count of 5, holding here, engaging the root lock, keeping the lower belly tucked in, hold the breath. exhale, bring it down. And hold the breath here. Inhale, take the opposite arm and leg, right arm, left leg, up on the inhale. Retain the breath here. Exhale, bringing it down. Retaining the breath here. And in this way we continue. Your 3 rounds, inhale, arch the back, exhale and round. Do that again, inhale, arching, exhale and rounding. Inhale. And as you exhale, go ahead and sit back on the heels again in child's pose. Stretch the arms out in a comfortable position that can broaden your back. So think of the back side of your heart as expanding towards the ceiling, even as you're expanding into the floor. So on the inhale, feel that expansion, sinking into the earth. And on the exhale, feel the energy going out the crown of the head and surrounding you. And then when you're ready, we're going to come onto our back. So this is to help train the breath. And what we'll be doing is we'll be relaxing one side of our body while we tighten another side of the body. And I found the best way to do this is on the back so that your whole body is supported. And the idea is to tense one side of the body while the other side sinks into the ground. So it's working a lot with polarity again, and the breath can facilitate that. So on one hand, you think about inhaling and rooting on the side that's tensing, and on the exhale, you think about relaxing the opposite side, simultaneously integrating the other side that you're tightening. So in a lot of ways, it's like nonviolent communication because you're responding to something that's challenging, but you're doing it in a compassionate way. So we're kind of practicing that, and that helps our mind get into the flow of the box breathing and also the mudra when we come down. So we're going to come down to the floor, and then your legs get stretched out. You can do this with one knee bent. That might feel more comfortable to you. We're going to begin by lifting the right leg about 11 inches off the floor. And this usually feels pretty comfortable, but you want to point or flex it with all its might. Really push the sacrum into the floor. And then at the same time, You want to take the hand and make a fist out of it. Take it overhead about 11 inches, so it's right by my ear from the floor. And then slide the left leg and relax it on the floor. So the left side's completely relaxed on the floor, but the right side's working. That's why you might need to bend the knee to feel that relaxation. So we're going to take 3 breaths here. Retaining for 5 counts at the top of the breath. And exhaling, feeling the roots and letting that left side relax. Beginning again. Gently folding the right knee and the right arm in, holding onto that right knee. Go ahead and extend the left leg out. Take a nice deep breath in here. Exhale it. Inhale again. As you exhale, go ahead and kick that leg up to the sky, giving yourself support behind the hamstring or calf if you have that flexibility. And again, take another breath in, inhaling, feeling that right side stretch, feeling your roots growing along the floor. And on the exhale, let that whole left side just relax and melt into the floor. Taking the knee, bending it, take a twist, open the arms out to the side, touch the knee with your toe, and take the knee in the opposite direction towards the floor here. If you had your right leg extended, you're going to the left and looking to the right. Bringing the head back to the ceiling, then the knees up to the chest, hug them in, rock side to side, release out any tension you might have. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So the right knee is going to begin bent, left leg is out. We're going to take it about 11 inches off the ground. Really flex or point that toe so that you can feel that engagement in the quad. You can even tap yourself, just make sure it's all nice and solid there. Really anchor yourself in. Take the left hand overhead, make a fist. I'm going to wrap my thumb into my hands so that I can really squeeze and really get that contraction. I'm taking it overhead, trying to relax my whole side of my right side this time as I inhale. Finding my rootedness, and as I exhale, I'm going to let that right side relax. Gently bringing in that left knee, just pulling that knee in, and go ahead and extend the right leg if it's not already there. Take a couple of breaths in here, inhale. Exhale, relax that right side. Inhale. And on the exhale, go ahead and kick that left leg up to the ceiling. Give support behind the quad, behind the hamstring or the calf. Knee can be bent here if you need to. Remember, you're trying to relax that right side down with each inhale. You're going to feel that left side really tight. And on the exhale, you're going to relax that right side. Go Go ahead and bend the left knee. Take the toe, point it, and put it on the knee. So it's crossing the midline of the body. Open the arms out to the side. And just gently take the knees over to the right. Enjoy that stretch. And then inhaling, coming back up through the center. Bring both knees into the chest, hug them in. This time we're going to rock forward and back. You can roll over onto the side to sit up, and we're going to come into push-up position. We're going to use the rock to get some blood into our spine. So rocking forward and back. And then coming up into a push-up position. So I'll switch it around this way. Okay, so we're going to do the same asymmetrical in the push-up position. You can be on your hands and knees. We did the basic one first. We're going to be working still on the box breath. So we're going to inhale, and we'll be lifting an opposite leg and hand. This is very challenging. And we're going to breathe the same way. We're going to inhale, lift the arms slowly up. We're going to exhale, and we'll put it back down and come to a neutral position, but we'll be in push-up position. So again, the same things apply. A light bind right here on your lower belly. So you want to look between the belly button and the pubis. That's where you're drawing in. And if you just practice that, taking it and holding it there, and then trying to create a little bit of comfort in the lower back and breathe into that, that helps a lot. You can always lower the knees if you need to, and you can also be in this position where you're in a modified. So we're going to come up into plank position. So curl the toes back, lifting up into your plank. I like to take my feet a little wider here so I have a bigger stability, and I'm just kind of bouncing and feeling this and seeing where I am today. This ought to be interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, lifting the left leg and right arm. So you may have to drop a knee for this, or you may have to take it wider. And we're going to do it, well, let's do a mock one first without the breath work. So we're going to lift it up and hold. Take it down and hold. And then release our knees to the floor just to rest. And let the bind go. So inhaling up. We're going to do the same thing, opposite arm and opposite leg. Now left arm, right leg. Lower it down on the exhale, and then drop the knees to rest. We could also come back into child's pose, so that might be an option to take the weight off our hands. So let's try that. Let's try the first round with child's pose. Inhale, coming up to plank, lifting the right arm, left leg, hold. Exhale slowly down. Lower the knees, retain the breath, sit back. Inhale back up to plank, lift the other arm and other leg. Hold the breath. Exhale slowly, lower. Sit back into child's pose. Inhale one more time. Exhale slowly. And one last time on the opposite side. Inhale. Exhale. That's hard. And as you relinquish into child's pose, relax and relinquish and let go of the breath. When you're ready, we're going to make our way up to a seated position. So If you're like me, your hands probably hurt. That was a very challenging position to do. And I probably didn't hold it for the 5 counts that I would normally do, but that's okay because that's what we're building to. We're building to that even 5 count breath. And as you can see, it's very taxing to do all of it at once. So now we're going to practice the breath with the mudra. And the mudra today is the life mudra, the Pran Mudra. And so we're going to take the thumb and the ring finger and pinky finger and make a little circle out of those like you would in Gya Mudra. And we're going to rest them on our knees, and we're just going to practice that box breath. So we're going to inhale for 5, hold the breath for 5, exhale for 5, and hold that down at the bottom, retain that down at the bottom, which is the most challenging part, completely relaxed in the posture. So as we inhale, we want to picture the energy, the breath pouring down into our roots and into the floor. We're going to feel our trunk be stable, our tree be stable. And as we exhale, we're going to feel that energy back up through the trunk and out through the crown of our head while we're doing that 5 count breath. Inhale to begin, and then exhale, and then you'll begin your 5 count breathing. The first one I'll cue, and then you have the choice to do it any way that you need to, that feels good to you. Hands in Pran Mudra. Inhale for 5. Retain the breath for 5. Exhale for 5. Retain the breath for 5. Here, releasing the root lock. And continue in that way. Inhaling. Inhale. Gently retain. Gently exhale. And gently sit in that beautiful space for 5. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Blink the eyes open and release the hands to the top of the legs. Sit here for just a moment. And let the breath flow naturally and evenly. No retention at the top or the bottom. Then bring the hands together, and you're just clasping them lightly, and move the wrists around in a circle or a figure 8. Take the fingers and press them out round the spine slightly by pushing the heart space back gently. Tuck the chin just slightly. And on the inhale, lift the hands overhead, press them up towards the sky. Keep the elbows soft. Nice roundness in the chest and the arms, just kind of circling the upper body. Let's breathe here. Take 3 breaths in the box style. So 5 counts in, retaining for 5, and exhaling for 5 and retaining for 5. We'll do 3 breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. And exhaling. One last time, inhaling. And exhaling. And releasing the hands down. So we're going to do the last prana exercise with the mudra, standing up. So we're going to come standing up, and we'll do a few breath movements just to get warmed up and to move our body a little bit more. And then we'll focus on the mudra in a standing position and that breath and visualization. So standing up here, we're going to take our feet about hip width apart and find that same rootedness in our breath. We're going to take the mudra in the standing position, and I'm going to point my fingers down towards the floor. As I inhale, I want the energy to come like my fingers are attached to the floor and they're growing roots like on a riverbank or a mountain where the tree is kind of hanging off the cliff in the air and half in the air and half out. So that's a visualization I get in my head, that nice idea of the roots that aren't underneath the ground, reaching for the ground and getting that nutrient all while they're stretching up to the sun. So we're going to use that visualization, and I invite you to it helps connect yourself like a tree is to the earth, to our physical body and our life force. So I'm finding a position where I can feel those roots spread between my toes, and I feel solid and able to bend like a tree in the wind, and yet still be able to reach towards the sky. So I'm going to take the mudra, close my eyes, and we'll take the hands and hold them here, inhaling, creating those roots. And exhaling, feeling the energy go up the trunk and towards the sun and the sky. Inhale again. Feel that rootedness. Exhale. One more time, inhaling. Exhaling. And then releasing out the hands. Hands go on the weights. We're going to do that same version of the seated one, moving the energy around, not attached to the breath, just an inhale going forward and exhale going back. And we're just going to come forward slightly and then back slightly. So we're kind of warbling on our legs. So we're orbiting around our body on our legs. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Discovering where the edges of our body are to maintain our balance and our equilibrium in both our mind, our spirit, and our body. So finding that balance here. And an opportunity perhaps to go somewhere you haven't gone before. taking in the opposite direction. I value feeling rootedness. I value taking risk outside of my body in safety and in community. Feeling those circles get a little smaller, we're going to come back inside. So just making the circles a little bit smaller, bringing it back into the center of your body. And then again, taking the mudra, reaching down towards the floor. We're going to take an inhale and we're going to lift the hands up. So we want to keep that same idea of rootedness. We're going to lift the hands up in that mudra. Inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to dive down. Inhaling up. Exhaling, diving down. Inhaling up. Exhaling and diving down. And one more time. Inhaling. Holding the breath here, reaching up, feeling the rootedness, feeling connected in each part of your body. And then exhaling. And coming into a seated position. So this is the hardest part of the of the practice, and each of these could be a standalone to check in. I use this a lot to check in and feel where my body is in various positions. So we did it on our hands and knees, we did it in push-up position, we did it on our back, and we did it standing. And now we're going to bring stillness into our body and go back to the box breath. But this time I want you to try to connect to your heartbeat. And this can be a very challenging thing to feel that heartbeat. So in order to try to facilitate that, I like to take my hands and give myself a virtual hug. So I'm going to stick my hands up in my underarms and wrap them around each other. And I'm going to try to perceive my heartbeat here if I'm able to, and use that to guide my counting. Another word on box breathing, if you are unable to start with 5, you can start with 3 or 2 or 1. And also, you have permission always to breathe in a way that feels good to you. That's one of the parts of nonviolent communication. We take responsibility for our thoughts and actions, that we build compassion towards other people by first extending it to ourselves. So give yourself grace in this position. Try to find the heartbeat. We're going to close our eyes and listen to beautiful music while we do our box breathing. So we will begin. Begin by inhaling. next inhale, hold the breath. On the exhale, gently release the hands to the top of the thighs and just linger there for a moment. Releasing the box breath and going back to a natural flow to your breath. And then blink the eyes open. We're going to make that same bind with our hands by wrapping the hands around one another. And we're going to push it forward and round the spine here. And then inhale to lift it up to the sky. And then exhale the hands down to touch the floor. Lengthen up on the inhale. Feel those roots grow. Expanding. Exhaling. Go ahead and plant the left hand on the floor. Take the right hand up. We want to pull that left side in, so we're going to tighten the left side here. So we're going to really feel the muscular contraction on this side. I have my arm going up so that I don't open up my ribs too much. So we want to cinch our belly together because we're pulling the rib cage towards the hip bone on that left side. And then we want to breathe and open and let this expand on that exhale. So we're going to work on trying to get the exhale to open up this side as we inhale it here. So we want to breathe when we inhale into the bottom of the left lung, really paying attention to the left side. Inhale. Hold that breath. Maybe look up at the hand. And as you exhale, look down at the floor to the left. Inhale, looking up, breathing into that left lung. Exhale, looking down. And one more, inhale. And exhale to release. Again, bringing the hands to the thighs, sitting there for a moment. So you might note difference, and you might note nothing at all, in which case we don't attach either way, moving on to the other side. We begin by interlacing the hands, rounding the spine, gently back. Inhaling up to the sky, holding there. Exhaling, let the hands sweep down to the earth, grounding here. Taking some breaths here, letting roots grow on the inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to swing that left arm up and go over to the right, really rooting our left hand on the floor. That right hand goes over towards the midline of the body. I'm still going to lift up so that I don't flare out the ribs. Cinching in here, drawing that lower belly in. Inhale, look up at the hand. Exhale, looking down, breathing into that right side. Trying to open and relax it. Facilitate more movement. More space. Inhale, looking up. Exhaling, looking down. And one more time, inhaling, looking up. And let the exhale move you back to the center. Again, coming with the hands on top of the thighs and just lingering here for a moment. As you linger here, we're going to make little head circles so the chin goes to the chest, then to the left chin. The nose looks up and circles around. Chin goes to the right shoulder and back through center. So rather than the head going all the way up, think about lifting the chin up in that circle. Think about the chin drawing the circle rather than the forehead. That also will help limit the range of motion. And then as the chin rests to the chest, take in the opposite direction. The chin drawing the circle. And then as our awareness grows, we see where we're finding hidden tensions and holding. Let the chin rest to the chest. And then inhale to bring the head back up. So we're going to use that same principle, but we're going to switch the position, and you can change your position or you can stay in your comfortable position. I find that this one is a really good one to do when in the morning. And it's the same idea, but we're going to be sitting on the heels. And in this way, I feel like my trunk is a little bit more upright, so you can also cushion to sit on your heels. You can take your legs and kind of push the calves out of the way to like facilitate being able to sit easier. And then we're going to take the mudra, again, the Pran Mudra, and we're going to lay it on the knees, pointing down. And then, again, we're going to go back to that breath where we connect to both our heart space and also to the visualization of the tree with the 5 counts. And we're going to begin by inhaling for 5. Retaining the breath for 5 and then exhaling for 5. As you come through this last breath, you can release the hands on top of the thighs. Sit here for a moment. Release the box breath and go back to a natural flow, in and out gently. Maintaining the awareness of the tree as a metaphor and an anchor to our practice, along with the breath and the mudra. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back onto our rear, and we're going to do a little stretching with that breath. So we're going to pull one leg in, and the other leg extends. My body is facing forward, so it's almost like I'm in Indian style here. So I'm going to take my leg out in a comfortable position, again, cushioning myself if I need to. I'm going to use that extended leg. So this would be my left leg for you. I'm going to use that extended leg as an anchor, but I want to allow my sits bones to really feel that rootedness, so I might not go as deep. And again, we're going to practice that same concept of tightening one side of our body while we open the other side of the body with the breath and the visualization, and thinking about our inner world and the inner rhythm that we have as we do it, really making that connection to nurture our body in the way that the stretch is meant. So we're going to take the hand down, and I'm pressing gently on my inner thigh, which is going to rotate my leg open a little bit and give me a little bit more space in my pelvis. So I'm going to dig my elbow in there to that nice little place where it can rest, but you can also place the hand on the floor, or you can place a block here. So that's just getting set up. So I'm going to use it kind of as a kickstand, and also as like a little pressure point in that part to help open up my inner thighs. I'm going to round my sacrum down. So I'm really going to feel that rootedness as I inhale. So I'm going to take a breath here and exhale. And then I'm going to snake the right arm up towards the sky. And I'm reaching up to open up that left side, really engaging now the right side, really engaging the left side here. So I'm drawing that rib cage towards the hip bone. And I'm going to take a breath and look up here. As I look down, I'm going to look down and maybe lean a little bit more. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, looking down. Connecting to the trunk and the roots, inhaling, feeling the roots shoot into the ground, expanding and holding. Exhaling, feeling the strength of the trunk of the tree and extending that right arm up towards the sun, even as I look down. And one more time, really tensing that left side, allowing the right side to be open. And I'm going to use the exhale to come up. Bringing the legs out in front, tap the toes together. Release out any tension you might have. Then we're going to take it on the other side. So we're going to fold the other leg in, again, like easy pose. If you can sit on the heel, that's awesome. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's fine. We're going to bend that knee if we need to. And then we're going to find rootedness. And if you notice in this position, my left leg is out probably a little closer to parallel. It's not very far out to allow me to get my sits bones down on this side. Obviously not the area that I can open up as much. So I don't really need the elbow as much here. I can place it on the floor because I'm a little bit more narrow. And now I'm going to take my left leg, which likes to rotate out, and I'm going to rotate it towards my elbow or my forearm. So I'm not going to use my elbow as a pressure point here, but it's a great way to keep from opening up too much on a side that might have injury or have been overextended. So we're going to snake that left arm up. I'm going to keep this more towards the ceiling and take my first breath and look in, look up, inhale. Looking down on the exhale. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, looking down. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, looking down. One more time, inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, letting that carry you back up to the top. Bringing the legs out in front and bouncing together. Now coming onto the back for the final finale. So we're on our back. Just bring the knees up to the chest, hug them in, rock side to side. So the final finale is lifting up off the ground into a sit-up position. So you're stretching. We're going to take the mudra and point the fingers towards the heels here. You also have the option if you wanted to straighten the legs out. So on the inhale, we'll hold here. And on the exhale, we're going to exhale down slowly and then stretch out into Shavasana. So we're going to do 3 lifts and then we'll come into Shavasana. So we'll do 3 breaths holding the position and then come into Shavasana on the last one and completely release. As you come into the position where you're in stretch pose and this position here, you want everything to be tense and tight and engaged, but we want to keep it, so that you could talk while you were doing it. So you're holding this position. So if you're starting to shake, that's normal. You can also put the feet down here. You can also support your head if you need to. So we're going to come into stretch pose and we're going to use that box breathing. So inhaling, lifting the upper body up, taking the mudra, stretching the legs out. Inhale. Exhale and hold. Inhale again. Exhale. Inhale one more time. Hold, 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 hold. Pour the root lock up. Exhale and release. Relinquishing to the mat, relinquishing the breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring your awareness back into the room as well as your connection to the body as you plant your feet on the floor. Let's stay here, inhaling, feeling those roots growing. exhaling, bringing that breath a little more depth past the body into your surroundings and setting. I invite you to move in any way that feels right for you to bring awareness back into your movement as you make your way into a seated position. Nonviolent communication seeks to integrate communication with language and also a means of influence where we're not the authority figure, but we're collaborating and working together in compassion. And we do that through bringing a gentle awareness to both what's our thoughts and what words we choose and the results of those words that we choose. And in this way, we cultivate a practice that is both compassionate to ourselves and to others, and hopefully bring about change where we wish to see it, if that is our value. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to my wonderful partner, Fred Altensey, for the lovely music. I find that music is a great anchor to explore, and it helps provide some measure, literally and figuratively, to do the breathwork in box breathing. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we're going to end practice together with 3 satnams, which means I am truth. So rub your hands together. Bringing your awareness back into this space, into the beautiful body that provided you the catalyst of this practice. And then thanks to our beautiful intellect, which allows us to let go every once in a while, and to the space that we created together in practice. Let's take a breath in to begin. Inhale. And to each and all of you, we wish you many blessings. And Satnam, Namaste. See you next Sunday. Thank you for joining us.